Hello, beautiful viewers. I'm thought through the cosmos, prepared to indulge in experiencing sheer bliss, because today another riveting, captivating, stellar unboxing video is about to be brought to fruition. What items will I be unboxing? What items will I be opening? Without further delay, without further procrastination, let me elicit the box. What tangible items are encompassed inside this hefty, bulky box? Let's find out. I'm going to render an aperture in the box and then subsequently expand it so that I can render the contents of the box transparent. Bear with me, it will only take me billions of picoseconds to penetrate through the box. I am dainty, I lack physical prowess. This is arduous to open. This is taboo. I'm not opening the box the traditional, conventional way. I am abstaining from properly opening the box. I'm ravaging the box. I'm compromising the integrity of the box. As you can blatantly see, we have a plethora of action figures encompassed within the box. These are DC figurines. I'm unsure who this character is. I presume that he's a superhero. I should not make any arbitrary assumptions. I love his nifty cape. This is quite a novel figurine. I love his aesthetics. His paint applications are decent. This figurine is likely derived from the DC Direct action figure line. So we have one figurine thus far. A second figurine. His face is concealed behind bandages that obscure his face. This is quite an intriguing figurine. I'm unsure who he is. I'm not well acclimated with the myriad of characters a part of the DC universe. I know the lore behind some of them, but not all of them. This character may be known as Firestorm. Is he heroic or is he villainous? Is he nefarious? Is he notorious? Or is he heroic and noble? Who knows? He's likely an adversary of the Justice League. But perhaps he's a hero. These figures are going to be relegated to the floor after I've extracted them from the packaging. We have a blue Superman apparently. These plastic lightning bolts protrude out of him or emanate out of him. I presume that these are supposed to depict lightning bolts, but yet again I'm not 100% sure. Is this character Superman? Most likely. Is he a variant of Superman? Probably. I have no idea who he is either. I just bought a lot of random DC Direct figures. These are nice figures. I believe these figures were sculpted by the Four Horsemen Studios company. I'm not 100% sure. You can verify that. This figure lacks any articulation in the knees. He's devoid of knee joint and elbow joint articulation. Nonetheless, he does have a high quality design. He's missing a shoulder pad as well, which is disappointing. But when you purchase a copious amount of figurines for $4 per figurine, do not expect them to come with all their corresponding accessories. It doesn't really bother me too much. I'm not willing to pay triple the price to procure their accessories that are susceptible or vulnerable to easily getting lost. Here's Red Tornado. He's featured within Justice League Unlimited. These characters are derived from the various DC comics, so you could become more acclimated with their lores if you are an avid, devout DC Universe comic book reader. I did not know the lore behind Red Tornado, nor do I really care too much. Assimilating that information or that knowledge provides me with no pragmatic information. I mean, it could be relevant to the context of this video, but other than that, it's not going to really aid me in being able to generate more wealth. I mean, maybe there's latent demand for witnessing videos about the origins of DC comic book characters, but I didn't forge these characters. My ingenuity didn't manifest them into reality, so it's more appropriate for their creators to spawn videos about them than for a comic book fan or a DC fan to churn out videos about these characters' lores. I did not know the background about this character either. I like comic books. I love movies. I love anime. But I seldomly read comic books. So my knowledge about the history of most of these characters is rendered non-existent, since I never seize the opportunity to learn about these characters in any facet, for the most part. I know a little bit about Cyborg. He's a member of the Teen Titans. I love his paint applications. I love his shadings and textures. He wields a blaster. He harnesses robotic components to augment his physical prowess and defensive capabilities. These figurines are stupendous in all aspects. I love their designs. I love their sculpts. This adversary of DC heroes looks sadistic and malicious. No, I presume that he's an adversary of various DC heroes. However, I'm not 100% sure. He looks akin to a tyrant. He doesn't really embody a superhero, but for all I know, he could potentially be a superhero. I have no qualms about this purchase and decision. These figures look significantly better in person than they did on eBay. The picture of them posted on the eBay listing was obscure. I saw them from far away, yet I couldn't meticulously analyze them based on the pictures provided. I love these hunks of plastic. This figurine is not marred with scratches. I love the golden armor. The gold painted armor. I love this figurine as well. I haven't really encountered any DC Direct figurines that I detest. These figurines are part of a 6-inch scale. They coincide well with the Marvel Legends collection. This figurine's jacket appears to be glued on. Some of his painting has begun to chip, which is not ideal, but that's what you can expect when you acquire action figures used via eBay on the secondhand market. I'm glad I did not buy them new. I cannot afford to buy them new. Even if I could afford to buy them new, I would opt to buy them used. Here's Dr. Fate. He's a valiant, stellar, divine, prodigious, sublime, extraordinary warrior. No, I presume he's a warrior. I do not recollect bearing witness to him engaging in any bouts against any villains. I think his moniker is Dr. Fate, and I presume that Dr. Light is a villain in the series. Here's another variant of the other character that I just showcased. You can compare and contrast them. They look akin to one another. I presume that this particular figurine is a variant of this figurine. I do not know their names. These are probably obscure. This figurine is probably, well, this character is likely an obscure character from the DC universe. As these guys are rivals of one another. If he's supposed to be the nemesis of this heroic character, then he's likely not well known. But I presume that they're the same character. If the figurines are affordable, and if they are aesthetically appealing, then I'll likely buy them. If their aesthetics are dreadful, and if they're unaffordable, then I'll forgo the opportunity to procure them. These figurines appease me in all facets. They're roughly half a foot tall. They have high quality sculpts. The producers don't rely on gimmicks to sell these figurines to the target market. These figurines lack any salient novelties. They emulate their comic book appearances. They have high quality shadings and high quality textures. Their decos denote that they're of the utmost high quality. I love his ridges. I believe this character is known as Firestorm. You could verify that for yourself. He's likely a variant of this character. He may be his nemesis. Yet again, I do not know. He may be an antagonist of the Justice League. Who knows? I love his muscle tones. They flaunt his physical prowess. You have this figurine practically in pristine condition. He's unscathed, with the caveat of having 2 minor paint chips in the back. Actually has some scratches behind his neck, so he's a bit more worn out than I presumed he would be. I never got to scrutinize his back prior to the advent of purchasing him. Here's his back. There's nothing about this figurine in terms of his condition that is that much of a deterrent to disincentivize me to buy this figurine for a $4 price tag. I would not be content with paying $15 to obtain these figurines. I purchased these figurines for a price of under $5 each. I didn't have to pay a premium price to obtain each figurine. I bought them in a lot via eBay. I was able to reap eBay bucks from the purchase. Furthermore, in conjunction with receiving eBay bucks post purchasing this DC Direct action figure lot, I also was able to receive a 2% cashback rebate for my credit card. So there were some benefits associated with procuring these action figures. I get to flaunt them on my shelf. I get to amplify my prodigious action figure collection. And I get to dabble into collecting DC Direct action figures. I've owned some in the past, but I've now significantly amplified my collection. Far beyond what I would have possessed if I neglected to buy these figurines. I love this figurine's cape. I love his deco. He has articulation in the knee joints. His foot is on a hinge. It can move upwards and downward. He lacks finger joint articulation. There's inconsistencies with these figurines. Some of them have more articulation than others. This figurine may be the Martian Manhunter. I detest the fact that some of these figurines do not have fingers that are clenched together into fists. I would have preferred if all their fingers could be clenched together rather than semi-clenched together. We have another Superman. Perhaps this is a red variant of Superman with lightning emanating from him, or some type of energy, cosmic energy perhaps. I'm not exactly sure. We have a couple more figures remaining. We have another Dr. Fate. I detest the fact that his hands are open. I would have preferred if they were closed, but there's nothing I can do to rectify the situation. It is what it is. Another figurine wielding a weapon. These figurines are missing their armaments. And then we have Bubble Wrap. Who else is engulfed in Bubble Wrap? Well, you have this character. His name is an enigma. He actually has a name, but I do not know it. So it is an enigma to me. I am inquisitive, so I'll likely find out in the future if I stumble upon it. I could type in the descriptions of these characters to prompt their names, but I'll likely neglect to do so, since discovering that information provides me with no pragmatic use. It allows me to alleviate my curiosity, but other than that, I just don't see a reason to research these characters in depth or even know their names. Who cares? I'd rather generate more revenue. I detest forgoing the opportunity to work. Time is a valuable commodity that cannot be replenished. We have another figurine here. This is a glorious character. I love the gold paint application. It embellishes this figurine. Who doesn't love the color gold? It's one of my favorite colors. I want to buy the golden Mario amiibo. I was unable to find it at a reasonable price, so I'm not going to pay a hefty premium price to acquire scarce amiibos. I seldomly buy amiibos. They're too pricey at the moment. So we also have another figurine in conjunction with one final figurine. Is this character Obsidian? I do not know. Am I going to adorn these figurines? No, I do not customize figurines. I do not modify figurines. I'll just retain them as they are. Some people utilize spare figurines as fodder. Some people add appendages to figurines. Some people customize their figurines to add more depth to them and to modify their articulation. That would be ideal, but it's not a worthwhile pursuit for me to allocate my time pursuing. It's not lucrative enough for me to spend hours refining and embellishing my figurines. Even though customized action figures command hefty premium prices via eBay, they still take a copious amount of hours to customize. So drawing forth customized figures is not without great sacrifice. On the customizer's behalf, these figurines do not wield any weapons. Perhaps they could harness their innate divine capabilities to decimate anyone within the vicinity. So that's pretty much everything. We also have more bubble wrap. And then we have a box devoid of its contents. The box can be consigned to the trash. I just want to verify something real briefly. I'll likely retain the bubble wrap. I'm not going to discard it. I can utilize it in the future amid moving. Bear with me one brief moment. I just want to research something real briefly. Alright. The seam lines on these characters are not a major deterrent to disincentivize me to buy these figurines. Are they noticeable? Yes. However, they do not agitate me too much. The unclenched fingers are bothersome. They're one of my gripes about these figurines. However, they did not deter me from procuring this DC Direct action figure lot. These figurines are not wobbly. Their joints are relatively firm. It's too bad that they lack finger joint articulation. They cannot perform the ankle pivot. However, despite their flaws, they still have merit. They warrant a price of $5 or less if you can come across them for that rate. If you have to succumb to paying $10 or more for these figurines, then I would recommend foregoing the opportunity to buy them. Why, you may ask? Well, these action figures are of obscure characters within the DC universe. If you do not know the lore behind these particular characters, then they will likely not appease you as much as action figures of characters that you are well acclimated with. Furthermore, their unclenched fingers, their seam lines, their lack of finger joint articulation, their lack of accessories, and their scratches, as well as their paint chippings. Are some of the reasons to vindicate not paying above $10 per figurine. You can rectify the chippings of their paint by repainting these figurines. But who wants to undergo that burdensome process? Unfortunately, this figurine's cape is torn. So there are some other flaws that I've neglected to mention. If you examine these figures in depth, it is unfortunate. Is it unbearable? No. It's minor, it's trivial, it's negligible. If you love DC Direct action figures, if you love DC Universe classic action figures, if you're an avid, devout DC Universe fan that's content with procuring every DC Universe figurine, then consider purchasing these figurines. However, if you detest and disdain the DC Universe characters, then these figurines will likely not appease you. So, implement decisions based on your own volition. I'm done reiterating myself. I feel lethargic. I'm in dire need of nourishment. I'm dehydrated. I need to intake food, water, and get some REM sleep so that my thoughts can be cohesive and so that I do not succumb to death from starvation. It's pivotal that I eat at least 3 times a day just to retain my weight. If not, the ramifications could be detrimental and have a deleterious effect against my body. So I need to safeguard my health. I should prioritize taking care of my body over striving to generate revenue and perform eminently on my assignments that I've been commissioned to complete. I'm a full-time doctoral student. My schedule is inundated with coursework. I incessantly work. However, after I've earned my terminal degree, then I won't have the burden of having to complete doctoral courses ever again. If they want me to get a postdoctorate, then I'll likely forgo that opportunity. This is my fourth and final degree. Once I've earned this degree, I guess you could say I'll be retired from being a full-time student. You assimilate knowledge from being self-educated. Intellectual properties originate in the mind. They may be transposed to paper or to textbooks, but they're manifested in the mind. They're conceived in the mind. In other words, if you want to be intelligent, you have to be independent-minded. Think for yourself. Be prudent. And be inquisitive. Be logical. Be rational. Be meticulous. Question authority. If someone attempts to indoctrinate you and say you need to learn this information, and they can provide you with a legitimate reason, then your response should be why this information has no pragmatic use and will likely have no relevance to my future. Why should I assimilate this knowledge? Why should I waste my time memorizing and regurgitating information that has no practical use in the pending future? And if they can't provide you with any valid reason, they do not buy into the dogma, and if there's a stigma associated with foregoing the opportunity to learn useless information that has no bearing on your future, then do not take that personally. Do not concede to the demands of others. Be an individual. Learn at your own pace. Become self-educated. Utilize your mind. Become independent-minded. Do not become dependent-minded. Do not outsource your thinking to third parties. Utilize your ingenuity to conceive ideas and to question the current paradigms. Make profound discoveries. Contribute knowledge to the existing literature. And perpetually learn pursue your niche interests. Be imbued with passion. And do not defer to the judgment of unwise people. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it to be enthralling and insightful. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.